So, like I told you, I landed in the airport. I had a warm welcome. And hey, I should go somewhere, right? I can't be staying in the airport for long. And then I saw the representatives from Texila American University waiting for me with a name board. And they approached me, they were very friendly. They took me to the college and told me, hey, come on, it's too early to go inside the college, so this is where you're going to be studying. And they took me like a round trip around the town, showed me a few important places which I could never remember then, and they dropped me in the hostel. The first day, it was 6:30 in the morning, I presume. It was like a hour's drive from the airport, going around town and then going back to the hostel. I landed in the hostel and they gave me the Wi-Fi password right away. Unfortunately, I only had my mobile phone on me. So I spoke to my dad over it and I said I was safe, and that was actually midnight in India because the time difference between those two things is like about 9.5 hours. So you're actually 9.5 hours behind it. So I landed in the morning, it was night time the next day in India. So I called my father and I spoke to my mom, they were happy. I spoke to my brother saying, hey, I had a wonderful experience. He was a little jealous because I had the first on my own flight trip to a very distant country, so I kind of enjoyed it. Now and then I used to send him a little picture here and there from the airport Wi-Fi too, so that happened. It was quite fun. My warden was in her night robes, but she was happy to be woken up at that moment. She put me in a room, asked me if I wanted some water, some biscuits and fruits or anything to drink and everything. She actually made me some soup, put me inside the room and said if there is anything else, she'll be looking at it and fixing it in the morning. My room wasn't all bad, it was very good, and I tried to keep it that way. You know how hostel rooms are always, so it didn't go so well that side, but it was very good for me. And I was quite comfortable there. And the next day, I was taken to the college for an orientation. I met the then Vice Chancellor of the university. He shook hands with me, congratulated me on my option, and he took around. He himself personally did that and introduced me to the staff there. And that is one advantage of being the first batch student, because you're lesser in numbers, so you don't have such a hindered flow of hierarchy. I was able to meet everybody right away. Everybody knows you by your first name, you call them by your first name, and everything is at your footstep. So in my first batch, I had a dentist actually. He completed his dentistry from Bangalore and he was with me. I had another dentist from Andhra. I had a nursing student from India, and I had a physiotherapist from India. And these were like the Indian students in my class, all of them boys, yeah. And then I had a few other students from different other countries. I would like to mention this guy. I used to call him Brother Umar. He was from the States. He was an alternative medicine practitioner. He was quite elderly. I don't use the term old anywhere because age is a number, but still, he was elderly. He was in his mid-40s and he was my classmate. I was like, okay, I don't have to be shy anymore because I'm not the only late bloomer into medicine, but he was way ahead of me. But he was a good friend, a colleague, and he used to give us some productive points and tips while studying. I'll come back to that later, but still, my class was quite a good pack. I had few nurses who had graduated and had practiced in Nigeria as nurses, and they were there to continue their medical upgradement and they wanted to become doctors. I had a dietitian who was a Nigerian basically, but she did it in England, and she happened to be my best friend, Beatrice. We were classmates, we sat on the same bench, and she was a good friend of mine all throughout the year. All through the 4 years, matter of fact. Even with the clinicals, we used to go in the same batch. So my college life began and it was quite fun, no problems. And I also enjoyed my hostel, other than the only fact I missed my parents. Why I give you a detail of all these things is, as much as you know, dear students, you might be hard and you might be grown-ups and adults and all those things, you are always a little boy or a girl or a little baby for your parents, and your parents will be concerned on how life is going to start there for you because you are on your own. And that is why I tell you parents, do not fear, because Texila has been like a second home for me and will always be my second home abroad from my home in India. Choose Texila.